With San Francisco experiencing injuries in their backfield, including to Christian McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell, and the rookie Isaac Arindo, they decided to sign Matt Breida. And already for San Francisco, he looks like one of their more athletic backs. He ran his 40-yard dash in 4.38 seconds, his 10-yard split in 1.53, and he put up the bench press 23 times. To go along with that, he has 2,652 yards in his career and 15 touchdowns, and his best years came under Kyle Shanahan from 2017 to 2019. So to see if the Cheetah can actually make a push for San Francisco's roster, I'll examine his career up to this point, his strengths, weaknesses, as well as what he'll offer San Francisco going forward. We were first introduced to Matt Breida at Nature Coast Tech High School in Brooksville, Florida. There he played both running back and cornerback. During his time there, he was a two-time first-team All-District player and first-team All-County player. He also was able to finish his senior year with nearly 1,400 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. And after this strong senior season, he was ranked as a 2-star recruit according to 24/7 Sports, and he had offers from Jacksonville State, Ball State, Akron, Toledo, and Georgia Southern. Ultimately, Breida did commit to Georgia Southern, and while he didn't start at running back as a freshman, he was able to contribute on special teams, recording 5 tackles. But during his following season in 2014, he was able to show off how electrifying he was as a running back. He led the entire nation this year with 8.68 yards per carry, while also racking up 1,485 rushing yards. That led the entire Sun Belt. The following year in 2015, he was an all-Sun Belt first-team selection while leading the Eagles with 1,608 rushing yards and 17 touchdowns. And this year, he once again led the nation, averaging 7.9 yards per carry. A big reason why Breida was able to pick up so many yards per carry was his jukes and ability to fake out a defense. His vision is just so great, he can set up his running lanes and then have nice cutbacks. And it was pretty rare when he did meet a defender one-on-one that they would bring him down because his agility is just so off the charts. Breida also excelled at getting vertically in college. A lot of times you'll see college backs dancing around looking for an opening. That wasn't Breida though. As soon as he saw an opening, he would shoot it, even if it was pretty small. Moving on to Breida's senior season in 2016, he only racked up 646 yards, averaging 3.8 this season. But in large part, this was due to the offense changing to a triple speed option, and it wasn't really successful. So after a Georgia Southern career that saw him finish 6th in school history in total rushing yards with 3,740, Breida entered the 2017 NFL Draft. And at his pro day, he came in at 5'9", weighing 195 pounds, while running his 40-yard dash in a blistering fast 4.38 seconds. His 10-yard split also showed off good acceleration, coming in at 1.53 seconds. He also had a crazy vertical, coming in at 3.5 feet. And despite only being 195 pounds, he put up 225 pounds 23 times on the bench press. After showing off this crazy athleticism, scouts really started to dive a lot deeper into the Georgia Southern back's game. As far as his strengths went, they obviously loved his athleticism as well as the production he put up during the 2014 and 2015 season. And while Breida isn't known just for running people over, he does do an excellent job with his cuts in open space and setting people up. And it's not like he just had one juke move either. He had a plethora of moves to set up a defender. If they were coming from the side, sometimes he would stop on the dime and see him fly in front of him. And as soon as Breida sees daylight, it's hard for the defense to catch him, and often they didn't. As far as weaknesses went, scouts really disliked Breida's senior season as he only rushed for 646 yards in that new triple speed option offense I was mentioning. They also didn't think Breida did a good job in anchoring in his pass protection. Sometimes he'd be driven back. Breida also wasn't facing the strongest competition in college, and that dramatic drop off in production made many scouts question his ability to be productive at the next level. And that was a big reason why Breida went undrafted in the 2017 NFL Draft. But shortly after, he did sign with San Francisco. Despite going undrafted though, Breida found himself at home in San Francisco's wide zone offense that really utilized his speed to perfection. As a rookie, for instance, he finished 3rd on the team with total scrimmage yards and had 105 carries on the year for 465 yards and 2 touchdowns. And while he was definitely not seen as a receiving back coming out of college, only having 156 yards across his entire career, during his rookie year, he was able to have 21 receptions for 180 yards and a touchdown. This somewhat shocking element to Breida's game really unlocked a lot for San Francisco. You could put Breida out on a screen, and if he was able to get a small hole, he was going to pick up massive amount of yardage. The following year in 2018 was Breida's most productive season in the NFL, even though he was dealing with injuries. This year, he was 4th among all NFL running backs, averaging 5.3 yards a carry. In total on this year, he had 814 rushing yards despite only starting in 13 making games. It was also his most productive year as a receiver, having 27 receptions for 261 yards and 2 touchdowns. The following year in 2019 would be Breida's last year with San Francisco, and he was co-starting games with Tevin Coleman. But he still managed to average 5.1 yards a carry with 623 yards on the ground and had his longest touchdown of his NFL career, an 83-yard run. And despite signing a contract with San Francisco shortly after the season, he found himself traded to the Miami Dolphins during the 2020 NFL Draft for a 5th-round pick, which San Francisco did select their current starting right tackle, Colt McKivitz. And during this 2020 season, Breida saw his production dip. He only had 59 carries for 254 yards and 1 start. During the 2021 season, Breida was barely used. He played a lot of special team snaps, but as a ball carrier, he only had 26 carries for 125 yards and a touchdown. During the following 2 seasons for the New York Giants, Breida was a change of pace back, but he was still able to put up 577 yards from scrimmage. So now entering San Francisco, what does Breida actually offer? I honestly think you can expect the back we saw early on in his career. He fits San Francisco's offense perfectly, but he's not necessarily a perfect back. He does struggle in pass protection, as well as giving up the occasional fumble, but he does offer San Francisco that big play potential, which is why San Francisco drafted such an unexperienced back in Isaac Garriendo. So headed into this preseason, if Breida is able to put together a couple of nice games, I don't think he'll just make San Francisco's practice squad, but rather make their active roster. And who knows, Kyle Shanahan could definitely use him as a change of pace back once again in this offense. But ultimately, these are just some of my thoughts about San Francisco signing Matt Breida, and I want to hear your thoughts down below. It would also mean a ton to me if you could like and subscribe, and as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.